Are we live? Of course we're live. It says so right there, Abby. Right there. Oh, sigh. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Abby Haggard. I know because I have it written inside my jacket. Oh, my goodness gracious sakes alive. Yesterday was a day of magnificent proportions. And if you missed it, you only missed the live event itself. You can go and look it all up. Good morning, Eddie. Good morning. I'm just telling everyone that yesterday was a day and a half. So I did my second round of Now What Wednesday ABCASTs. And Val, my fabulous stage manager, director, pal Val, who broke her wrist to get out of doing it on opening week. It's what some people will do. Anyway, she came back and we had the most magnificent marathon. We talked about so many crazy, wonderful train wreck moments and revelations about what it means to build family and build connection with your chosen family, in addition to the family that you came with, right? And what happens in some of these connections, in some of these scenarios. And it seems as though, Eddie, you'll know this and you'll tell me if I'm on target. There's something about community theater. And I don't know whether it's because of the time it takes everybody to orchestrate their lives in order to commit to, my uncle's got a barn, let's put on a show. It is extraordinary how it changes you. And then it's so easy to become kind of addicted to that whole process, that whole system that you become a part of. And so the next thing you know, you're volunteering for the next show before you've even finished this one. And your family is saying, we never see you anymore. We'll come to the theater. It creates this kind of old-fashioned village values soil. It's like it fertilizes the soil that we live in, walk in. It brings the nutrients back in, the things we didn't know we needed, we didn't know we were missing. And we're so busy that we don't notice until it's a place where, as Val said, I walk in the door, it doesn't matter how long it's been, I walk in the door and my whole body says, I'm home. And she has a fabulous family. She had a great job. She has a ton of just amazing friends. There's something about that place, the one that we call our theater, even if it's a roadshow house, even if it's the comfort. What are you saying, Eddie? It's the comfort of being with people who are working together with a common interest. They've invested that's it, Eddie. They've invested their hearts in it. Certainly they've put their blood, sweat, and toil. In Val's case, last week, her wrist. And I said, what were you doing standing on a riser in the first place? And she said, I was giving them notes. And I said, yeah, okay, but weren't they sitting down? Like, did you have to be taller than everybody? She said, oh, shut up. Well, what are you standing on a riser? Here's the thing about a riser is a platform. And the reason they call it a riser is because it elevates you. It raises you so that the people at the back of the theater can see you, right? And quite often stages are raked so the back is higher than the front. And that does two things. It means that the people furthest from the audience look bigger. And it's also less expensive to do the backdrops and the furniture because it already looks bigger. So we went on, and I kept looking at the clock thinking, that can't be right. And I said, it's 2 hours. And she said, I tell everybody who's going to get on a call with Abby. I said, oh, we're blaming me because you've sat here mute for the last 2 hours. And she said, right, yeah, okay, it's all mine. I said, no, I'm your willing accomplice, but don't be shifting the blame there, Miss Val. And that was it, right, Eddie? When our hearts are in it, time just flies by. It's that extraordinary state of mind that is called flow. Athletes call it being in the zone, right? Because when you're completely invested, all parts of you, head, heart, hands, I sound like the 4-H club, but when all of the parts of you are invested in an outcome, everything comes together. And there are no jangly bits wondering if I left the iron on and parked the car with the engine running and so on. You're here. And that allows you to then be able to occasionally, and Eddie, you'll know this, zoom above yourself to see what the hell is going on at the back. You seem to have this kind of ability to be aware of a wider scope of your surroundings, right? So that was my morning. I didn't know if it was going to work. Susan, by the way, I apologize, Susan. It was my bad. I had to click a button so that we could see you. But it was my first time and I didn't know what I was doing. Now I know. So, because I clicked the button and Val came up and I thought, oh, would you look at that? Apparently that was mine. All right, mine to own. And it worked well. At the beginning, there were some freeze moments, but it fixed itself. And then late in the afternoon, I got the confirmation that I was waiting for before I announced to the entire world that I was going to get a chance to talk to Roger Price, who, for those 10 people on the planet who have no idea, Roger Price is the genius who created not only You Can't Do That on Television, he also created, before that, The Tomorrow People when he was in England, and several other UFO Kidnapped when he was here, and a couple of other shows that people really weren't necessarily aware of. Very prolific, very productive. And Roger has the most extraordinary ability to tap into where he was at a specific point in his life and how untethered that window of time felt for him. And that is the place he is standing when he is crafting the content for that audience, for those people who are now navigating those uncharted, frothy waters. And he's a genius at it. And his ability, his willingness and ability. All actors sit around a table and read the script to get familiar, to be not standing up, walking around, just read the script to get a sense of where we're supposed to be going, what the author thought. And the director weighs in and the tech people weigh in because it's a collaborative thing, right? Roger has always had all the actors and the key technical people. And when I say all the actors, I mean all the children and the adults in the show. But the show is about and for and with and by the children. Their input on, I wouldn't say it that way. We don't say it like that. And Roger listens because who knows better? Not him. And when he figures out how to reword it and rework it, then that's how it felt so normal and natural, and how it was so much easier for those kids with great coaching, for those kids to figure out how to navigate the challenge of being me, not me. We kept their real names so that they could feel that they were themselves. They were cast to be themselves. And then you get the coaching to show you how to be yourself in an unfortunate and foreign scenario. I mean, a television studio is like an airplane hangar. The ceiling goes up forever. It's where they hang all the lights and the stuff. And so you walk into a room and it only has 2 walls. And the rest is this yawning space with other things over there and a whole bunch of adults with equipment. It's completely odd to then hold on to the you-ness of you and remember your lines and where you're supposed to go and how you're supposed to react. It's a lot for anyone to do, even more to do well, even more when you are pretty new at doing everything. And so he made it as easy as possible, as inviting as possible for these novice actors. They've never had any other training. He was adamant about that. You don't come here with training. We give you the training, right? And You enjoyed the conversation I had with Roger? Was that not amazing, Jason? I just, because he does not enjoy being front and center. Good morning, Kelly. I'm glad you were there too last night. He prefers to be behind the scenes, but he's now at a point where, he's writing his biography and he's got a whole bunch of projects in the funnel that Billy and he are navigating. And Billy is saying, you got to get out there, Roger. You don't have the luxury of being the anonymous, shadow behind the scenes. This is all on you because the kids aren't there to promote it. I mean, Abby's there and doing what she can, but people are coming to see your next magic trick. So, and he said, all right, then I'll talk to Abby. But we had fun. Good morning, Maggie. We had fun. Roger at the end said, I quite enjoyed that. And sounded remarkably surprised. So Carol Hay was the acting coach and Brenda was the producer. So in television, the producer is performing the function of a stage director, right? The stage director has all of the various levels of what's going on under her command. Brenda did that. She was overseeing the lighting and the cameras and the sound and the angles on things and how the scripts were working and how many times a kid is going to be able to do it before they get exhausted. And so basically, the ringmaster is I think a much more accurate word than either producer or director. And Roger, of course, producer, executive producer, creator, head writer, magician, all those things. And Carol had already been trained by some people in North America in this specific type of acting technique. And Roger flew her to London for a brief time to meet the acting coach that he had used there, that he had discovered there, so that the two of them could blend their skills and get, exponential greatness. And then she flew home. And what she basically did was she gave the kids the opportunity to be them in a strange land, not leave them behind and become different, but stay connected firmly to where they were coming from and what they were bringing to the table. And then add the few touches. So if Matthew needed to be frustrated, angry, upset, cranky, then it was not Matthew's job to portray any of those things. It was his job to go and remember how he felt the last time he actually authentically was those things. Well, good morning, Rush. It was a fun time. I never know what Roger's going to say. And I had not had time to say to him, listen, this is where I'm thinking of taking this interview, this conversation. He said, I don't like interviews. And I said, I know, I don't want it to be an interview. I want it to be a conversation, the kind we used to have. Only I want to kind of stay around a particular topic. And he said, what do you want to talk about? I said, I was thinking of the children. And he said, what? When have you started thinking about children? And I said, tonight, around 15 minutes ago. And that was the direction I wanted to go, because everybody watching the conversation last night, first of more, I think, they got to see who he was and hear why he chose to do the things he has done. We got to get kind of a really fascinating behind the scenes look at him and where he was and when he was and what was going on in the world around him that shaped so many things. So with all of that said, with all of that long introduction, I want to talk about the show today, if that's okay. Because my conversation today, the theme today is, what have you lost? Do you want to get it back? So give me a second while you think about that. One of the things that I have done since I began navigating the world on my own is reminding myself why I came. Many people don't do that. They begin with a plan. You know, I want to be rich. I want to be an author. I want this. I want to lose 10 pounds by Friday. It's Thursday. I know. I'm going to diet hard. Okay. So they don't really have a what is it going to look like when I get there? They don't have, I think I'll put the couch across from the windows this time, because every time I put the couch under the windows, the sunlight fades the couch. I'm going to try it over there. So people don't begin with the end in mind. They begin with an idea of what I think I'd like to do. And if they don't have the end, they don't know where they're going. If they don't know where they're going, they have no idea when they get there or how far off course they end up, because they can't point to where they need to be. If I say, I want a house under a tree, then it's easier for me to find the house than just I want a house. You know, if I want a house with a balcony, I don't want a bungalow, because with a bungalow, that balcony would be the terrace, the patio. And so if you don't know what your outcome is, you don't know what you lose along the way. You don't know what you forgot because you don't know what to bring. And we only know these things when we get close enough to where we want to be and we start patting our pockets and we lift our luggage and realize it's very light because we didn't put the right things in it. And then we're scrambling at the last minute to compensate for that. So when I didn't have a whole lot of instructions and I didn't have a whole lot of people consistently saying, that's a cliff, that's the path, then more often than not, I was climbing back up from the cliff saying, no, I meant to do that. And it's part of the reason my humor is the way it is, because I know that while falling, I saw other people falling and climbing back. So I knew I wasn't the only one. And I thought, perhaps if I figure out what the map looks like, maybe there will be people who want one, which is where all this began. The acting profession was, can you do this? I think so. Do you pay money? Is it legal? Am I going to look like an idiot? I didn't ask that last question often enough, clearly. However, I did ask. What I didn't do, which then kind of hit me behind one ear, was I didn't plan my now what. When I reached the goal, I stopped. It hadn't occurred to me that I had to then reset my expectations for the next and the next. Not a million down the line, but I had to realize that this can lead somewhere or not. And if it doesn't lead anywhere, then I start at zero again. And why would I do that to me? Because I wasn't paying attention, one, and I wasn't given instructions. And the people who would have didn't know they could or should because no one gave them any instructions. And when you pause and consider that, and then you think of all the people around you, you can see that pattern. People are making the same wrong steps. I don't want to say wrong, unhelpful steps that someone else did because they learned by observing and imitating. And that is how we learn everything. We didn't know that there was an easier, better, more direct way to do it because we followed that. When we finally say there's got to be an easier way than this, why do I have to fall off the cliff to climb back up to then take the next step? Is there not a shortcut for that? Yes. Read the sign that says cliff. Oh, anyone could do that. Do they? No. So back to the theme. What are you missing? What have you started to wake up and say to yourself, I don't know, something's off. When did you, have you yet noticed that you're doing it? Because I'm seeing people doing it. I'm seeing the look in their eye. I'm seeing the set of their shoulders. I'm seeing the sigh. And that's where those things come from. Not the big disasters. We had 3 massive rain systems. I think the first one was July 1st here in Canada, where I am, my part of Canada. And people are still digging soggy stuff out of their basements and frantically phoning handymen to come and help them prevent mold from growing. And they're completely and cutting up trees that fell down. You know, a friend of mine who is a reporter for a newspaper said, I can now add arborist to my resume because he's now dealing with trees that he quite mature in the house that he bought. Do I need a day off? Yes, because I can't get out of bed. My back and shoulders are sore from the chainsaw that I don't normally use as a reporter. And so everyone is now compensating for the large things, and the tools we're using are incomplete because we don't have the instructions. We're operating with outdated ideas. We haven't updated our operating systems. When I work with clients, they say, we've always done people like us. And I said, well, not now. People like you used to. You did it a different way before the internet. Oh my God, yeah. And before that, indoor plumbing, and before that, electricity. So don't say people like us, like you're going back to the Crusades. What you're saying is it's comfortable. Even when it's discomfort, it's still a comfort zone because it's familiar. Because it's easier to do a familiar thing than something new. Because something new takes a lot of work, a lot of mistakes. You feel dumb and frustrated. You'd rather feel, well, at least I know what I'm doing. At least I know what I'm doing. Okay, but it's not getting you anywhere. At least I know how to spin my wheels in the mud. Right on. Except all you need is a car wash because you haven't gone anywhere. You're late for work again. All of those things were just, oh, I know. Oh, I know. But when people do that, next time you see them do it, I want you to pause and look at what you're seeing. Oh, I know. Okay. If you were hard of hearing and all you could do was watch them, they have their eyes closed, they have their hands up, and they're shaking their heads, negative, and they're not smiling. What they're saying is they understand, they're fully present, and they agree with you. That's not what they're telling you. That's outcome of that is called cognitive thinking dissonance confusion. Say one thing, do another simultaneously. I'm going to go over here and wait till you get the two of you talking and choose one. Nobody's doing it. Everybody is doing the same thing, even though it's not delivering the results they want. And they're saying, I don't know, it's just not the same. Something's missing. Yeah, excitement, adrenaline, the opportunity, the possibility of success. Possibility of failure? Yeah, that's all right. Get up, do it again. Third, fourth, 46th time is a charm. Learning curve. But we're not. We're giving up and giving in and settling for less. So the two-part question, is something missing? Yes? Do you want it back? You say, well, of course I want it back. Well, what are you doing to achieve that? Well, you don't know how. What your body is telling me is nothing. I'm doing nothing. I'm not even walking here. I'm waiting for somebody to pick me up and carry me. And in the meantime, I'll just wait here. And we're all guilty of it. All of us. So there's two things I want to talk about as the possibility for that. Maggie says, good morning, Freddie. Good morning, Freddie. Speaking of things we can't see, it's good to know you're here. Cheers. So the two things I want to talk about that are recovery strategies. And neither one of them is do more to be more. Neither one of them is get your stuff together and just grow up. No. Because when people say things like that, they're handing all the responsibility for the words they're saying to someone else. They're not taking any ownership of the words they're saying. Just do it isn't an instruction. Just do it, it is another way of saying that sounds like a you problem. You do you. Both of those absolve them of any responsibility whatsoever. Well, if you can't help, get out of the way, is my usual reaction to something like that. Stop talking if you're not going to contribute information that is relevant and valuable, because you're making it difficult for me to concentrate. So what are the two? Now I've done my wimp and snivel and snipe here. What are the solutions? Okay, the first one is this. The first one is the later folder. It's not later in this case that serves you, because later is what we are doing. Later is putting it off. Later is maintaining the status quo and hoping the status quo will eventually lead us to the place we need to go. The status quo never does that. The status quo stays exactly here. That's why it's called the status quo. So what we need is a folder that prioritizes. We need a folder that says now, as opposed to later. And now is easy because you only pick one. So it's difficult to make a priority. I made Maggie laugh a long time back when we were working together. And I said, in order to discover your superpower, you get a piece of paper. And at the top of the page, you write a title. And the title is Stuff I Suck At. And she laughed because she expected the exact opposite. And I said, and you write down all the things that you don't do well. All of them. I don't care how many pages it takes. Write them down. It's easy to do that. You know all the stuff you suck at. You know what's left at the end of that? The stuff you're good at. It just stands there and says, I guess it's just me. Hi. Or it's just the two of us. Hi. It's just the few of us. The things we suck at are the many. Get them out. Get them out. Get them away. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Let's focus on the few instead of the many. So You get the list of the few. Now you know what you are working with to choose. And once you've gotten rid of all the stuff that are basically cheese doodles and taking up time, cheese doodles and time vampires, you actually like these last two or three things. You say, yeah, you know what? Yeah. Okay. So now you know how. The only other thing to know is why. And this is the second thing I want to talk about. So you have a later folder, you need to get a now folder. And the now folder isn't the one that you carry around with you all day to sort and sift and separate the stress from your abilities and your priorities. That's what the later folder is for. This is a folder that you leave at home. And you maybe deal with in the morning, or you have a look at after the day, the bulk of the day. Or maybe, on a day when you just decided to give yourself some time. You take a look. What are my superpowers? Let's make that list. Let's grow that list of stuff I suck at so I can see my superpowers. Now, so that's the preparation work. And it's really fun. Everyone I have given that task to has had a howling good time, because nobody's ever said, let's talk about it all. Write it down. It's like the conversation with Val, what Eddie was saying. It's a unique experience to be in community theater because people bring their hearts every time. And we don't see that. When people trade their time for money, something changes. We feel in a way that we were forced to do that, and we are cheapened by selling ourselves and our time. However, if an employer does this, I am rewarding you, thanking you, repaying you for your investment, for your currency of commitment with my currency of commitment. I'm not saying your dedication and hard work is only got a dollar value. I'm saying your commitment and hard work and your talent and your skill and your heart, the way I can repay you that helps you with the rest of your life. Because while you are here for me, you are not there for you. To thank you for making that choice, let me help you. Let me repay you in a way that makes buying the groceries easier, owning the home easier, getting a new pair of shoes easier. If any employer ever said that, if any employee ever thought about it that way, we would come closer to that feeling of connection and community that we feel when we go and invest our hearts for no reward except the feel good and the joy that our participation brings. If on top of that, somebody said, and we got a sponsor and we're going to share with our family a piece of the benefits, a strange thing happens. I've experienced it twice. I still don't know what to do with it. People who come and willingly give their hearts when they're handed money, the money isn't enough. It doesn't matter how much money they're given. It's not enough. Do you know why it's not enough? Because nothing will ever be enough to weigh at the same level as love. what people think is that you gave me money cheapens my love. No, it's not meant instead of love. It's the icing on the cake, not the cake. And if no one ever explains that to us, we walk around feeling somehow diminished. When I go to a fan convention and I work my magic, and my handlers say to people who have had the best time ever, so the fee is this. Oh, I didn't realize she was charging money. She's not charging money. You are helping her pay the cost of coming. She's not charging you for your love, for your connection. She's not cheapening the experience. You are helping her pay the expenses that she invests in order to create this, to make it happen. Oh, of course. But when they go to another booth where somebody is selling a tangible toy, they're buying the toy. They're paying for how much is the toy? The toy is $1. Here's $1, I have a toy. They're not investing in the heart piece it took to invent the toy, to create the toy, to build the toy, to love the toy, to name the toy, to market the toy, to sell the toy. They're paying the price tag on the toy. It's an exchange that goes beyond the heart. But then when they turn around, they come to me and they say, look what I got. Could you sign it? Yes, of course I can sign it. Oh my God, I've got this and now she's going to sign it. Yeah. And then my handler says, do you know what it costs, Abby, to put the ink in the pen? What? Did you bring the pen? No. Abby brought the pen. Abby wasn't born with a pen. Oh my God, oh my God. Oh, Abby, I'm so sorry. Problem solved. When we decide we go to work and they're going to pay us for our time, they better pay well. Really? How about we go to work because we can and we're good at it. And we are going to change the face and the soul of this business because of what we bring. And the employer understands the value of that and says, you're not an employee of the month. You are my superpower. Employers should be handing out superhero capes. They should be celebrating the fact that they've got the A team. They sent out their scouts and they got the A team. You go and you get you see the draft for these professional sports, right? The families have committed so much time, so much time, so much compromise to find the time, invest the money, because the child has talent and the child has passion and the child has purpose and drive. Okay, and we back that with love. And they get good enough. And there they are at the draft. They're invited to go to the draft. It's a huge, huge achievement. And they sit there. And when their name is called, they don't sit there gobsmacked and then jump up and down and the family crying and everybody hugging because they're going to get $1 billion contract. No, that's next. What they're experiencing in the moment is the recognition. I did this for love, and they love me back. That's why they're here. I did a television show 1,000 years ago. There she is. I did cartoon voices 1,000 years ago. Here's one of them. You're not here watching this video and commenting simply because of that. You're here because today, now, this current version of you has realized that there's more to know. There's more to connect. There's more ways to learn and grow and laugh and roll our eyes. Since those days, it isn't all nostalgia. I didn't populate my office exclusively with souvenirs from my past. I've got shoes that I still wear. I just a couple of months ago created those jackets. This is the evolving connection that we have. This is the love. My question is, my reaching out to people, my working with clients is, and on top of that, you enable me to pay the hydro that keeps the computer running, that allows me to talk to you a million miles away. You enable me by contributing to my overhead. That doesn't take away the value of the connection and the intelligence and the commitment. That's the icing on the cake. And as soon as we realize that currency comes in different platforms, and the one doesn't undermine the other, we can take back our sense of recognition, that we are heard and seen and valued for who we are. We're not selling ourselves. We're thanked in the way people can. Beyond, oh, wow, I feel amazing. That's genuine. I'm glad you feel amazing. That's why I came. Now, if you'd like me to be able to come again, contribute to the hydro. Contribute to the earrings. Because people understand and provide that for you. It is the way the world works today. We exchange goods and services. We are bartering chicken for shoes. The difference is, you don't give me a chicken. You give me the money, I buy the chicken. I don't give you shoes. I give you a new, fresh attitude and point of view so that you can go and choose the shoes. We are operating on many levels because we are that wise. So I'm saying that to set you up for the next aha. In order to move forward, in order to say, that was something I didn't have difficulty with, now I am no longer willing. I am not willing to have my resilience become tolerance any longer. It's not that I don't love you. It's that I cannot be in two places at the same time. If I must compensate for you, who is compensating for me? I can only be on one side of the street at a time. I cannot carry you if you don't carry you too. How do we make that shift? This is the essence of Pivotry in motion. How we make the shift, how we get back what we have lost. And it doesn't matter whether we gave it away or it fell off the back of the truck because we didn't tie it down. It doesn't matter how we lost it. It matters that we lost it. Otherwise, that's just stalling. We're going back and we're spending time in a place we no longer live. How we get it back is by drawing a line in the sand. And the line says, this line separates what was from what can be as soon as we choose to draw it and cross it. What is the outcome we wish? The outcome we wish is not there. That was where we were. That's not an outcome. The outcome is over here. And if we keep waiting and just standing beside that line and saying, well, I don't want to hurt anybody, and I don't want to abandon anybody, and because I was abandoned and I don't feel, it's not abandonment. It's rules. It's guardrails. And the harshness of thinking of a line in the sand, and this is what was, and this is what will be, and never the twain shall meet. No, it's not a straight line. It's a heart-shaped line. And the reason we draw the line in the shape of a heart is it defines who we are, why we care, what matters to us, what we bring. And the boundary of that is not to say, never darken my door. That's not it at all. The boundary is to say, this is me. This is the outline. If I'm drawing me, Abby, I know, aura, molecules, I get it. But the jacket stops here, and I'm on the inside of the jacket. The jacket stops here. If I'm going to draw the jacket, there's a line there, and a line there, and a line there, and a line there. Those are the arms, right? The heart-shaped line is what I look like, the space I inhabit. And everything on the other side of the line is who I love and what matters to me. But let's make no mistake. I can't erase the line that defines me in order to bring you closer. You're not me. I am giving myself permission to see with clarity what I need to do today, now, for me, and what I am able to do in a minute for you. To participate in your journey. And you out there, by the way, are doing the same thing. We are all doing the same thing. When I get up and brush my teeth, I'm not brushing anybody else's teeth. I'm brushing my teeth. I might, if I had a small person, brush theirs, show them how to brush theirs in a minute, but I'm brushing mine first. Brushing my teeth stops at the end of my mouth. It's that simple. And when we reluctantly say, oh, I know, I have to do, no, you don't know. You're saying it because you think it's expected of you. That's an incorrect instruction that you were given. Know you. Where do you stop and other things begin? Do you know where you stop and the couch begins? Do you know where you stop and the pointy edge of the end table begins? Yes, sir. Yes, you do. Do you know where the Lego starts and your toe, the bottom of your foot begins? Mm-hmm. Yes, you do. Yeah. And if you're reminded of it in the dark, you can see Cleveland for a second. You recognize the boundary there and why you can't cross it. And you say, oh, no, you don't. You say, ah! That's what boundaries are for. So today, what I'm saying to you is something missing. Do you want it back? Well, let's start where we are. Let's start where we are, which is in here. Let's make a list of all the things we suck at so that we can identify the superpower that is going to have the strength to pick up the weapon of mass construction and draw the line. Oh, but I love them. If only they could see what I see. I just want to help. Okay? Beautiful. Start where you are. Help you. The mother who does everything for the child and leaves themselves last. The person on the airplane who has to be told, put your own mask on first, your own oxygen mask on first, when the instinct is to do it for the child first. If you aren't able, you're not helping them. Help you, ready you to be there when it's time. Is it selfish? No, it's prioritizing. Start where you are. When you drop a stone in a pond and the stone goes punk and the splops come up and the ripple effects happen, pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. You got that image in your mind? Okay. The stone and the water are not merging, are they? Nope. The boundaries are clear. And the energy of that close proximity goes that way. And what we have is a failure to recognize that. Because we're thinking we are all one. And you know, in the overall scheme of things, yep. But right now, in this form that we are, we have to start somewhere. We have to have a path. We have to have the commitment, the drive, the ambition, the focus, the purpose, the skills to achieve the outcome. Because the outcome and the path are why we're here. If you want to stand on one leg and imitate a flamingo, you can. If that was your path, there you are. What do you plan to do tomorrow? You've already achieved that. Because things don't change. Situations don't change. People change things. People move the little pebble forward. Energy changes things. If we choose to be the echo of the person who raised us, who trained us, who shaped us, we are like the caterpillar in the cocoon. The longer we stay, the less likely it will be that we become a butterfly. We own the pen. We hold the pen. We do the work. We receive the thank you, plus the bonus that allows us to purchase the ink that makes the pen work. We can choose to see ourselves as victims. We can choose to see ourselves as volunteers. We can choose to see ourselves as Vikings. And there are times every day when we're all three, because it is the nature of the human condition. We are flawed. We came flawed. Broken, not necessarily, but flawed. That's why we're having lessons. We're learning and growing. and evolving. When someone says, I thought they would wait for me. Okay, why did you think they would wait for you? Well, if they cared. Okay, what if they did wait for you and then they had to go to the bathroom? They hurt themselves. They were hungry. Did you want them to not look after themselves and choose to wait for you? What were you going to do for them? To thank them for their commitment. What are you bringing that elevates them? What are you committing to them that costs you? And who didn't give you those instructions and those tools is old news. We are here today. We are here now. Is something missing? Do you want it back? Then let's get after it. Let's go get it. I don't know, it's a lot of work. Let's go back. Is something missing? Yeah. Do you want it back? How badly? On a scale of 1 to 10. Because every number you add to how badly you want it back minimizes how much time you're giving to something else. We have 24 hours in every day. And I'm not talking about people who have issues and medical situations and genuine difficulty focusing and prioritizing. If you have genuine difficulty prioritizing, I get it. I've had those days too. You know what I don't have difficulty prioritizing? I'll tell you. When I suddenly realize that I have to go to the bathroom right now, I don't dawdle and check to see what's on sale. I walk very carefully. I take very small but very quick steps. I say to myself, I'll procrastinate later. Right now, here's the thing. I know I render these things to a very basic point of view. And I know it makes you laugh. And I do that on purpose to surprise you. The element of surprise. I surprise you out of your comfort zone. How badly do you want it back on a scale of 1 to 10? You come up with a number, and that's what we will work with. There's a thing where they say, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? How about why not buy the cow as a gesture of gratitude for all the joy the milk brings? That's a possibility. And the minute we do that, we're right back in our amateur theater community where we lead with our hearts to get the job done. What's missing? Do you want it back? You know where to find me, don't you? Okay. You know the drill. First of all, thank you. These videos don't happen without you. There is no one-person show. It is always an agreement between collaborators. We are all accessories before, during, and after the act. Be good to you. You deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones. They put up with you. And before you go, if you did not watch them, check out on YouTube or here on Facebook or on LinkedIn, wherever you might be, and watch yesterday's morning video with Val Bogan. And definitely tell every single person you have ever met in your entire life to watch the video, the conversation that I got to have last night with Roger Price, who made every single one of you thrilled to belong to the You Can't Do That on Television family. Check it out. He's incredible. And by the way, so are you. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.